Hey, welcome to another episode of C's Backyard Bees. Today we're doing what I like to call a welfare check. We are going to jump into this first hive. We're looking for queen health. We're looking to see if the supers are full, if they're honey bound, that kind of stuff, just to see where their population is as we head into July here. So come join me. We are for sure going to jump into this first one and just talk about how we do a simple hive check. Hive 1, July 4th. Alright, so this hive was one of our overwintered singles, and it got crazy large on us, wanted to swarm, so we split it. We got in here a couple weeks ago, saw that the new queen was laying, which is awesome to see. She came back, mated, running super fast through everything. As I look through down here, I see a lot of open cells, which is perfectly okay. I left the honey on because the bees were going to protect it and maybe add to it by the end of the year. However, as I pull this one out, it is mostly capped on that side, not capped on the others. These bees may not cap this honey by the end of the year, and that is perfectly okay. We have it's called a refractometer, and it checks humidity levels or liquid levels, water levels in our honey. So if it's anything under 18%, it is considered honey. If it's anything over that, it's nectar. So even if they don't cap that, we can still test it and make sure that it is honey and it is safe to jar it. If you do not check your water content, then that's when you run into problems with fermentation. So if you do not have a refractometer, they're super cheap, you can get them on Amazon. I would highly suggest you doing that because that is going to for sure tell you if your honey is ready to go or not. So as I look in the second box, a lot of it is all capped, which is actually awesome to see. Let's make sure they have room here. Yeah, so this outside frame's basically empty. So they got plenty of room still, which is good to see. And then they've also been working on it, having this one capped. I did have these middle frames actually have brood on them because I did not have queen excluders on this hive all the way through the spring, and I chose not to do that. That way the queen would have lots of room to lay and try to keep from swarming. So they've backfilled all that brood chamber, which is awesome to see. When I have supers on, obviously I don't treat for mites, so that's why I run these different sizes of frames. So I run the shallows in my supers and then the deeps in my deeps, instead of running all mediums or all deeps per se. So they've done a really nice job backfilling all of that space where they laid brood earlier this year. So let's jump in under the queen excluder here, make sure that they're not honey bound, make sure that our queen is laying. It looks like, looking down there, they have a really good population going on, which is awesome to see. So as soon as that sunlight hits the top, the queen's going to want to be going down. She does not like sunlight. I'm just checking the top real quick just to make sure that the queen for some reason is not on that. We're just going to pull a couple frames out. I forgot my nuke that I like to put frames in off the side, so we're just gonna have to do the old school lean it against the hive method. Trying to pull these frames out as slowly and as straight up as possible. It keeps from rolling bees. If you kill bees as you go, they get madder and madder, so you try and go slow, try and go patient. I like taking 2 frames out, and that's why we always put it in a nuke, because I just kicked that frame, and they definitely don't like you kicking frames on them. So we got lots of honey. Which hopefully as I get more towards the middle, we run into a lot more brood, less honey. I can already see a packed frame here of brood, so it's looking pretty good as we go along here. Alright, so we're on our 3rd frame in. Looking down here trying to see if I can see any eggs, or see the queen herself, I guess. This is a pretty empty frame, and I'm just seeing a ton of eggs in this frame, which tells me that the queen has been here 1 to 3 days ago. That's the kind of the stages of the eggs. So 1 to 3 days ago, this queen was here. Oh, and then we just have this next frame that is just absolutely awesome. Let's pull that out and show it to you guys. So we see eggs. We know that the queen is alive, doing well. And this is just packed solid full of brood. Yep, so she is just an outstanding queen. So this thing is just plumb full on both sides. She came back, mated really well. So that is just awesome to see. All of that is worker cells. That's the flat capping straight across. And she has that whole frame is completely covered. And that's really probably her first batch of bees here, as workers take 23 days to go from an egg to being hatched. So it's probably her first one's going on here. Maybe even her second batch, as I'm looking down in this cell. It looks like we have a bunch hatched out. And again, I'm kind of adjusting the frame back and forth, trying to see if there are eggs down there. And I do see some eggs. Oh, and there she is herself. So we have our queen bee right here rolling around. That is as best as you're going to get when you do a check like this. So we have checked to see if she is healthy, which she obviously is. She's laying really well. I'm going to keep my eyes on her as I put this frame back, make sure that I don't squish her. And she's right there in the top middle, so I'm going to squish this frame back. And we did exactly what we needed to see. They're not honey bound. They do have a lot of food though, which is good as we're getting closer and closer to winter. We want this hive to make it through because it's probably one of my strongest hives here. And it's my newest queen as well, so I like having that new queen. Queens typically last in captivity with all the natural chemicals and stuff that we give them for mites 2 to 4 years. So she will be rocking and rolling the rest of this summer and next summer, and then typically their laying patterns start to slow down a little bit. So yeah, so let's put this together. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below, and I will see you next time.